Hi, good morning. This is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. Welcome to Lightworkers Group. I will probably henceforth be focusing my attention on light work and Operation Imagination on Saturdays only. With the current schedule that I'm juggling and trying to work out, it's time to start bringing light work into more of the forefront of the healing garden, but it's not quite ready to balance equally yet with what I'm doing over the garden. But it's definitely time to get the ball rolling. So, light work. If you are new to light work, you've heard about it, you love what you see, you're on board ethically. What you probably are seeing out there right now is you might even be part of a guild or a Facebook group. I refer to Facebook groups as guilds. It's equivalent to person A has their Facebook following and they post a lot of information, and then they have a following. And their information is pretty, you're there because it rings true to you. It's vibrating with your frequency. You go to another Facebook group and they're posting material on light work, and what they're posting also vibrates with your frequency. You can be in multiple groups. You can be in one group. You can be in no groups. Maybe you're something's pulling you. So light work, my own type of light work is not based off of the Akashic records. It cannot be. I follow my own frequency. I listen to my own intuition, and I have a really awesome, extraordinary logical system inside of me that was put inside of me when I was a child. And as a result, when something is tuned to my frequency, it's highly logical. And if it's not, it gets rejected. So everything in my system goes through this massive logical checks and balance systems that is immediately tested with philosophy. And if it passes, it's in. If something doesn't check out, it's out. And to date, my logic is spot on. So that being said, I don't touch the Akashic records. I don't really know what they are. I've heard of them. I've had a lot of people come to me with, oh my God, you need to look at this. And I go, no, I don't want to know about them. So that is the first rule. The reason why is because the moment I get information about something like that, I can feel myself starting to follow the Akashic records. And I do not follow religions. I do not follow groups. I lead. There's a big difference. So this is what I'm feeling from my frequency. This is what I'm feeling from what I see with my visions, what I pick up from my own intuition and identity and my self-sailing system. The self-sailing system is the collaboration between the identity, the self, conscious awareness, self, and intuition. When you have all three of those things combined, you can navigate, shift, and move your entire life based off of that system, which is ideal. That is truly peaceful living when you can shift and move and adjust according to your self-sailing system. That is something that I teach over at the Healing Garden. So I am tuned in so completely to my self-sailing system that I don't follow other religions. I don't follow any other previous work. I just go my own path based off of my intuition. So in short, there was a vibrational frequency shift that occurred with the planet back in 2019. It's documented, it's science. And right after that, COVID started. In fact, that kind of was the thing that tipped COVID. The shift happened, COVID happened. We then quickly saw the world fall apart. And when that shift happened, that frequency shift that occurred literally triggered so many people, thousands, possibly millions of people into a frequency leveling up adjustment. A lot of people who couldn't feel the frequency before are now feeling the frequency. People who've always felt the frequency really feel the frequency. People who've had deja vu and visions their whole life turned on full blast. I was a turned on full blast. I have been having visions and intuition, deja vu since I was 4 years old. And when 2019 happened, a switch flipped and I leveled up. And then May 16 of 2022, I leveled up again. And then I leveled up again. If you were to look at the Dr. Graves, it's called the spiral dynamics. And I talk a lot about the spiral dynamics. In fact, I'm going to talk about it right here because this is part of light work. This is required for light workers to know. There is in 1970, Dr. Graves, a psychologist, released this essay, this paper that introduces this concept of 8 transformative human development that every person evolves through from birth to their death. Some people don't make it. A lot of people don't make it through all 8 levels. Now, there are more than 8 levels, but no one's ever made it past level 8. Most people get to level 3 and they stop. Level 4, people get there, they stop. They love level 4. Level 5 is where things start to get interesting. Now, level 4, these are all mindsets and perspectives. Every 8 levels is just a different evolution of a perspective or a mindset. When we are born into mindset 1. This is the mindset of, I need a caregiver. The caregiver is the God. We're going to talk about God, defining it here as the center and priority of self. The center and priority. You have the self and you have the centralized God. Okay? So in the first perspective, it is the infant or the child, and the God is the parent. In the second perspective, the child is the defined role of how it serves the family. The family is the God. In the third mentality, there is no God. God is dead, and the person is the only person who matters, and everyone else can go to hell. This is where narcissists live. Okay? Really great way of putting that. This is where narcissists live. 4 is government. Government is the God, or religion is the God, or God is the God. The problem with level 4 is it's very conformist and rules, high morals, but not a person's morals, the government's rules. The God gives you the rules. And that's really it. Let's talk about that for a minute. That is really the difference. When I say God, it's who are your rules and ethics coming from? So when I say God, God is the giver of the ethics and morals. So let's go back to 1 for a minute. Level 1, it's the parent who has the rules, the authority. 2, it's the, oh, this is beautiful. This is exactly, forget God. No, this is rules and authority. This is it. This is, oh, I'm so excited. I love when I have a breakthrough. So 2 is when the family or a gang or the gang or the community has the authority and the ethics. And 3, there is no ethics or morality. It's all about me. It's me versus no one. It's all about me. There's your narcissist. 4, the government or the church or the God has the authority and the rules and the ethics. Now, 5 is where the entrepreneur is born. If you are wanting to be an entrepreneur, if you've thought about it, you are pushed at that level of 4. You're at the end of 4 and you're ready to cross over into entrepreneur. Welcome to 5. This is where you start to take this God power and you bring it down so you can look at it in the eye. So now you're thinking more along the lines of, I'm going to share the God power with myself. This is where we start to see beautiful Ayn Rand with that philosophical concept of, I am as good as a God. Why do I have to go to a priest? I'm good enough to talk to God directly. In fact, I could be on level with God. I can make my own ethics. Why do I have to consult with a God to get my ethics? I'm quite capable of getting my own ethics. This is level 5. Level 6 is when you realize that it's not just about corporate America or money or your business or materialism. You start to realize that, yes, while you might be on the same level as ethics, gods, and authority, you start to realize that authority has a much bigger purpose. That if you have authority, then really, let's start looking at the planet. Let's start thinking about what we're doing to the planet. Let's start looking at how our actions are affecting the planet. Now we're starting to think as a whole. Now we start to get into the all-encompassing, let's think about other people, everybody as a whole, as a one. Now that's level 6. This is where a lot of people stall out and then we stop. The reason why is twofold. One, you cannot evolve past level 6 if you have any mental illness. You cannot. When you reach level 5, level 6, all your mental illness comes forward. Level 4s, there's tons of evidence. Levels 1, 2, 3, there's tons of evidence of mental illness, but you don't care. Level 4, it gets annoying. Mental illness gets annoying at level 4. And if you love level 4, you learn to deal with a mental illness. And the people who love level 4 have learned how to just deal with the mental illness. People who move on to level 5 can't handle the mental illness anymore and they're sick of it. The difference between level 4 and level 5 is an intolerance of mental illness. Level 5s are the people who say, all right, let's get into therapy. I got to fix this. Usually they pursue fixing it. Level 5s and level 6. Here it comes down to it. Can you get rid of your mental illness? Most people can't. Most people really struggle. Now, the reason why isn't because the individual is a problem. It's because the program provided to the individual is from level 4, is created by level 4 thinkers. So you're a level 5 and a level 6 trying to cure your mental illness, but you are working with textbooks from level 4. That is why people stall out on their healing. The second requirement to get past level 6 is you have to throw away the system, because the system is all completely designed for the majority, and the majority is level 4. We are starting to evolve the system into level 5, which means the majority of level 5ers, thank you millennials, are entrepreneurs who don't tolerate abusive employers. Because of that mentality shift, much to the begrudgingly complaining lives of the baby boomers, we are seeing that concept of level 4 dissipate and go away. And what's happening is we're seeing this massive millennial shift. Well, we're seeing this massive shift from level 4 to level 5, led by the millennials. This is 100% a Gen X and millennial created thing that they did. And I'm going to tell you right now, that started because of the 1960s hippie movement from Woodstock. That mentality of free love, free spirit, who are all level 6s, they're the ones who pushed the society into the next stage. We went from 1950s is when the system really solidified itself into that level 4. Level 4 is your leave it to beaver attitude. 100%. That is your leave it to beaver attitude. That is the system. And what we're seeing is basically it's a system that cultivates mental illness and abuse. Level 5s are getting away from that. Level 5s are now stepping into the entrepreneur, where I'm going to be equal to God. I can create my own ethics and authority. I don't need somebody hierarchy to tell me how to think. I can think on my own. Thank you very much. Level 5. And that is the overall mentality that's shifting. All the people who are 4s and under are going to complain and hate. The 5s are starting to take over the system now because they are the majority. Now, the 5s prioritize mental health, but the material we have is all from level 4. So there's going to be this 20-year gap where all of our education's redone, all of our government's redone, all of our system is redone. But this is all life inside the system. People who are at level 6 are beyond that already. They're trying to get to level 7, but they can't figure out how. You can't get there yet because you have too many mental illness and you have to leave the system. Level 7. Level 7 is when you realize that the authority and the ethics is inside you and inside you. Inside all of us. We all have our own ethic and authority, and it is our own mission to find our own ethic and authority. There is no God. That is an archaic 4th level thinking concept. Now, Yeah, there's really that's it. That's it right there. There is the energy pool. There is the universe, the divine, and people still refer to that as the God. More power to you. What to each his own, whatever you want to call it. And the more I talk to people who are at level 6, who who get this concept, who really get this concept, they understand it, and they really, this is where we start talking about the divine feminine. Now, the problem that I have with the Akashic records from the materials I've seen online is they are all very much level 4 thinking. There's a lot of gender, there's gender wars, there's masculine, feminine. That's all level 4 garbage. And that has no place here. Level 4 is fantastic if you are in level 4. Level 4 is fantastic if you are in the system. But light work really starts at level 6, and 7 and 8 is where manifestation really takes hold. Now, the difference between 6 and 7, if you look at Dr. Graves' spiral dynamics, there is a gap. There's part 1 and the part 2. Part 1 is 1 through 6. Part 2 is 7, 8, and on. The difference between that gap is the system. When you cross over to 7, you're going, it's leaving the matrix. You have stepped out of the matrix. This is leaving the system. When you get to level 7, you're going to enter a culture shock. Mine lasted 3 months. It was rough. It was real rough. You think you're insane. That's one of the symptoms. You think you're insane. You have that. No, this must be crazy, because all your life people have told you you're crazy, because level 4s love to call people names. Level 3s love to call people names. So you have a lot of those names left over. Level 7, you shed those names. You completely realize, oh, that's level 4 stuff. Oh, I can disregard that. You start to step away from gender. You start to realize that gender is just another label that holds us all in. Really, when you start to think in the terms of what's my skin color, what's my culture, these are self-defining things, but then there's also the system defining things. And when you start to see people in the form of an energy, you start to realize how absolutely insignificant a gender is. And what's more is you start to think on the whole of the community. So you really start to think in terms of we and our, because we're a unit, because we all matter. It's extraordinary. You start to see the butterfly effect of every single butterfly. You start to see how every little action ripples and then comes back. And it's just this beautiful resonance of frequency that just moves with everybody. It's so stunning to see the choreography. It's beautiful. Fear cannot exist here. You have so much love, so much peace and calm and certainty and steadfastness that there is no fear. When there is no fear, you have a little bit of worry that might creep in at level 7, and then you go, oh, I don't want that shadow. And you just focus on love, and you nurture the love, and then the shadow goes away. You understand the balance. You understand how your mind works. You understand the intricate details of the subconscious mind and all of its moving parts. You understand, and you are tuned in to your self-sailing system. So that instead of focusing on the subconscious mind's fears, the subconscious mind's desires, hatred, traumas, angers, that's all level 4 stuff. Instead, you are focused on your self-sailing system, which is your identity, your intuition, and your conscious awareness. Now you are ready for light work. Now you are ready to heal the planet. This is a reality that a lot of people are not aware of. They're jumping into light work because they have truly, authentically, ethically, the desire to want to help. They really want to contribute. They are called to. And I'm telling you right now, if you are here, you probably are following your calling. I get it. I can tell you what's going on. The system that I just laid out for you from Dr. Graves's spiral dynamics is a perspective. There are 8 of them. I just showed you the 8 perspectives. Your ethics are not your perspective. You probably had your ethics when you were 2, 4, 8 years old. You felt this since you were a child. but you are caught in the different perspectives that reflected the universe around you, which is level 4 system. So when we are born, we are pulled by the level 4 system to achieve level 4. And if you don't get to level 4, you're ridiculed and ostracized and labeled. So levels 1, 2, 3s are abused or negated until they get to level 4. Level 4 really loves their rules and labels and categories and conformity. That's what they value. So that's what runs the system. Level 5, all that's going to shift. According to level 4s, level 5s and level 6s are stupid and idiot. According to level 4, anyone better than them, anyone bigger than them, and this is true according to their perspective, anyone bigger than them, anyone better than them, anyone higher evolved than them are stupid and they're labeled. Level 1 through 4 hates everybody higher than them. Levels 5 and 6 hates everybody lower than them. Level 7 and 8s don't hate anybody. They are completely void of hate. Now, if you are thinking, well, I'm a level 6, I'm a level 7, I'm a level 8, you are still thinking like a level 6 and a level 4. First of all, there is our higher function and our lower function. If you are higher function, that is your level 6. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in this group, you're probably resonating with level 6. You have your higher function and your lower function. But if you're in this room, there is probably a good chance you are torn between the conditioned subconscious mind of the level of 4, which is what abused us. So it's conditioned us to behave like a 4. But you're at level 6 ethically. So this is your ethics. This is your subconscious mind. So your ethics might be at a 6, but your subconscious mind might be at a 4. So when you are waking up first thing in the morning and feeling fantastic, you're at a level, your higher function is level 6. But when you get tired or hangry or stressed, then you immediately, your subconscious mind takes over, and your subconscious mind is wired 2 levels below you, always. This came from Dr. Graves' work, 2 levels always. We digress. Everything is a spectrum. Level 7, level 8 thinking. Everything is on a spectrum. Everything requires the combination of both, black and white of that karma. We must require black and white to have that gray. My favorite example of this is humility versus self-value. This is not to be confused with ego. I am still working on what ego is. I'm still doing the psychological research and philosophy to determine what is ego. I can't figure it out. I really can't figure it out. Ego baffles me. I'll get to that later. So right now you have a spectrum of humility and self-value, self-importance. When you have both, you have this beautiful preservation where confidence and boundaries, self-preservation exist. You value the self while also remaining humble enough to respect others. But some people have just humility and no self-value. What ends up happening is this person is overwhelmed with a lack of value. They hate on themselves. They are self-sacrificial. They will do anything to serve other people. They're highly people-pleasing. They're isolated, and they often struggle with suicide and depression because they lack self-value. This person over here has nothing but self-value, self-importance, and zero humility. They are narcissists. When you have both, however, the humility pulls the self-value into check, and the self-value pulls the humility into check. So what you end up doing is when you have both, they pull onto each other to hold them both at this gorgeous, balanced spout of gray. This is proper living. In this gorgeous little spot, this is where you have a defense system with boundaries, communication. This is where you're able to now communicate to other people what you want, where you want to go, what you want to do, what is a line. Hey, don't treat me like that. That's your self-value speaking, but keeping it respectful, humility. 7 and 8s live here. 7 and 8s live here. If you have a problem with boundaries, you're a 6. If you are here You are thinking like a 6. Your ethics are wired to 6. You cannot be a light worker and not be a 6. 5s aren't thinking like this. You're a 6 if you're here. So everybody in this room, everybody watching this video is a 6. But that means your lower function, your subconscious mind, is still hardwired to 4 until you resolve your mental illness. An 8 will drop down to a 6. A 7 will drop down to a 5. A 9 will drop down to a 7. It's extraordinary. It really is extraordinary. A 7 and an 8 understands that the 1s are required. The 2s are required. The 3s are required. A 5, a 4 will say things, a 4 will say things like, we just need to kill everybody on the planet who doesn't agree with me. That's a 4. That's also a 3. A person can have an ethic made up of 6 or 7 or 8, but the society could condition their subconscious mind to be a 2 or a 4 or a 3. My ethics were aligned at 6 when I was 4 years old, but I lived in a 2 society. By the time I got to be 8 years old, the 4 had completely taken hold of me. And so I was constantly, forever, for 40 years, living in a 4 subconscious mind and society. But my ethics were screaming, you're an 8. And that causes mental illness. That misalignment is called cognitive dissonance. Whenever we have a perspective that does not align to any element within our cognitive core, it doesn't work. Mental illness develops. We require that alignment. This perspective must reflect and mirror everything within the cognitive core. The cognitive core, this is triadic healing, by the way. This is exactly what my class is about. The cognitive core is composed of internal elements that make up the self, including the vibrational frequency of how you are tuned into your identity, consciousness, awareness, and your intuition, your self-sailing system. So this is introducing light work to you. Once you get to light work, we can start talking about world peace. We can start manifesting for world peace. We can start helping guide other people to this point. But we can't get to this point until all the light workers are on the same page. What I'm seeing is a lot of 6s who are struggling with mental illness, a lot of 6s who are wanting to be 7s and 8s, but you're not willing to leave the system. A lot of 6s who have a lot of trauma to get through. You're in turmoil. Maybe you're a 5 and an entrepreneur and you're wanting to cross over to 6. You believe that there's something there at 6, but you're stuck at 5. That's okay. It's going to take time. It's going to take knowledge, really. It doesn't take time. It takes knowledge and awareness. Once you get conscious awareness up, things go real fast. But you got to get conscious awareness up. Conscious awareness comes from education. Ironically, level 4s don't value education. As a result, there's not really much out there, which is why this information has not been made. Okay, no, this information is all my stuff. I made it, I created it, and I wrote the path when I was getting myself out. And then I accumulated and said, oh, this is what's going on. Here you go. I'm a level 8 who wrote this stuff. When I was stuck in level 4, I wrote this stuff with the ethics, the identity, and the conscious awareness of a level 8 while I was stuck in level 4. And then I used it to get myself out of level 4. And then I got into level 5, 6, 7, and 8. When I got from 6 to 7, that was back in April. Oh, yes. 6 to 7, I literally left 6 in April. It's all documented. It's wonderful. You can actually go back on all my YouTube channels and see how I was dealing with it, the crossover from 6 to 7. And then there was this moment of, and then I was at 7 for a while. And I finally made it to 8. And then I found Dr. Graves' spiral dynamics. And I went, son of a bitch, there's my little linchpin. And once I took his work, his 8 levels of the perspectives, he doesn't call them perspectives. I don't think he does. I'm not sure yet. But once I realized that and it plugged in with triadic healing, I was able to go, oh, well, there it is, son of a bitch. Oh, okay. It was literally the piece I needed. So once you get this together and you bring in human design, a lot of you are probably dabbling in just human design, but you don't know about triadic healing and you don't know about spiral dynamics. And I'm going, no, people, we have to have all three. That's the problem, because you have your energy, your self-sailing system, that's human design. Human design dissects your self-sailing system, but your self-sailing system is not going to work until your subconscious mind is put to sleep. Your subconscious mind is made up of the spiral dynamics, what the culture is saying, and your cognitive core, which is your identity and the elements that are all there from triadic healing. So once you get triadic healing and the spiral dynamics and you put them together and then you add human design to it, now you're ready for light work. Now we can start healing other people, teaching other people, and bringing everything together through the power of manifestation. Once you can see the energy pool, but you can't, and like I said, it's a gray. You're going to be toggling 3 different levels at the same time. And the more your conscious awareness grows, the more this is going to narrow you down to a real, like a fine laser right onto where you need to be. Right now, you might be feeling like you're all over the place. This is because your scope is this big. It's like you're blindfolded walking through a zombie apocalypse. Triadic healing shines the light on all of this, maps it all out, shows you how to go. We use spiral dynamics in human design to show you how they're interrelated. And then I give you the triadic healing to plug it all in so you understand how the cognitive core works. So how far you're wanting to take your light work is going to depend on how much work you're wanting to do. If there are some people who are here because they want to watch, and that's fine. Absolutely. There are some people who just want to be here to manifest. They're just like, I'll pray for you. Okay, great. Absolutely. Come on in. There are some people who, just want to observe. And then there's people who really want to help. There's people who like, I have to lead, I have to follow, I have to direct, I know what you are. That's your role in human design. There's 5 roles. And once you realize if you're a generator, projector, manifester, that's going to tell you exactly where your intuition and your identity are pulling you. That pull all comes from human design, and it defines it. Human design defines what is already there in you. Okay? So to get started, pull your human design chart. If you don't know how, not a problem. I'll send links below. And you're going to need your birth date. You are going to need your location. You must have approximately, if not precisely, your time of birth. That is going to change everything. I pulled somebody's chart yesterday. I didn't know his time of birth. He didn't know his time of birth at the time. So I typed in midnight. He came up as a projector. He then came back and said, nope, I was born at 8:45. I punched in same information, 8:45, and he came up a manifester, an initiator. And I went, whoa, I've never seen that much of a drastic change over a time difference. So time matters. Time very much matters. If you don't have your time, then to be blunt, we can't pull a chart. It's not going to be reliable enough. It's going to give us false information. We do not work with false information here because education is the priority. Education is prioritized in the Healing Garden. Now, if you belong to a guild already, if you're part of another group, that's fine. That is fine. This is a networking group. This is a full, all the guilds coming together. This is very much all the guilds coming together and us building a solid mission. I have my own lightworking guild, but that requires qualifications to get in. So if you're wanting to join the Healing Garden's actual guild, that's another application. If you're wanting to just be here for your own guild and do the networking and the meetings, fantastic. We'll get you started. We are not yet meeting in person, not until June of 2024. I have my Operation Imagination where we vote on which massive humanitarian cause we're going to vote on based on what our funding is, based on what we get in for members. And that number is going to determine a lot in next June. So if you're wanting to become a member at the roundtable for Operation Imagination, the link is below. The information is on my website. I'm currently building the forum and the payment options available for that so people can donate and start getting membership available to the roundtable. Basically, it's $15,000 per member. That $15,000 goes into a pool and will be accumulated 100% of that $15,000 per member goes towards whatever cause is voted the one we're going to donate it toward. And then we build our own facility to, not literal facility, but our own event to fund it. We're not going to donate it to another charity. We're going to be building our own and then going toward that cause. And the reason why is because I don't use the system. I don't trust the system. I don't answer to that system. I operate completely separate from that system, as do the people in my community. I do not acknowledge a level 4 system. I don't, because that being said, I am in the process of building my own, much more ethical, much more better system with the unity of all the members on board. So if you become a member, you not only get to vote, you are going to talk about how we're going to build this up, how we're going to put it together. Understand that there's one requirement. It will be independent from the system, because when the system falls, dissolves, we don't want any ties to it because it's a sinking ship. So that being said, we have I'm thinking, yeah, I have the membership, the roundtable. I have the healers and light workers. And if you are into Reiki healing, energy healing at all, phenomenal. That is very much welcomed and wanted here. When we do meditation, manifestation, I will be basically what I do. My technique is I put it all together. I love combining as many of the stuff as possible. I love doing energy healing circles. Those are my favorite. I love doing energy healing circles. Those are my favorite. That is my forte. That is pulled off of an African practice, actually. I'm going to go ahead and tell you about this. In Africa, there is a particular tribe. I do not remember the tribe. Every time somebody is sad, everybody in the community walks to that person. I'm going to cry. I've done this, and it is the most beautiful thing in the world. If somebody is sad, everyone in the community surrounds that person into a hug, and you hum, and you hold them, and you give them all the love and all the acceptance until they feel better. Last year, I did this with somebody. I told him this very story. He was upset. He was crying. And we all were gathered around him, comforting. And I said, no, energy circle. Let me tell you what they do in Africa. And as I explained it, I picked up this man and I pulled everyone around. And we all hugged and hummed and said, you are loved, you are wanted, you are accepted. This is what I believe. This is what I practice. And I will be teaching it to you. Energy circles are the most beautiful, amazing thing in the world. And it's amazing that it comes from a level 2 society. It came from a level 2 society. We need all the levels. We need all the levels. They all have a purpose. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you the links below. Choose your own path. Figure out what works for you. You can be as involved as little or as much as you want. You can be silent. You can be a wallflower. You can be involved. You can be like, I'm a generator and I'm here to change the world. Okay. All right. Come to me. So all the links are below. And if you are like passionate, on board, active, wanting to get started right now, I've got work for you. Come see me. You can DM me. I am very accessible and I love talking to people. I've got accessible email. I have accessible DM message in Facebook. And I'm sure if you dig, you can find my phone number even. Don't do that. Let me know. Email me. Ask me. There's also contacts for it. If you go to my website and go to the treasure map, I love pirates. Go to the treasure map. There is a contact Anna, or just contact with a little fairy going, yeah, go there and you'll be able to find all the ways to contact me. So if you are wanting to get on board and start right now, and if you're eager, come on in, we'll get you started. If you are wanting to get right into the Healing Gardens Guild, and that, let me know. And I have the information available now for you to get the requirements so you can start that process that is involved. And I only there's no limit to how many people can join my guild. but there is a requirement, including certain 2 questions being asked at the end of all of the requirements to be filled. I'm very, very particular about who works with me. That being said, I think that covers everything. So, welcome to Lightworkers Guild. Again, June 2024. I'm going to have like a 3 or 4 day event in New York City. Start saving up. And we are going to be doing the roundtable voting at that time. We're going to be doing a networking Lightworkers Guild meeting where we all come together and we all gush and ooze over how wonderful we love to love and save the planet. And I don't know. I'm putting it together. It's an event I'm hosting. I'm very excited. June 2024. So, and yeah, all the information is over there. We also have a $500 application fee for those who want to apply for membership at the roundtable. There are requirements. You have to be a philanthropist. There's a few things that we have to go through just to confirm that your ethics are all aligned and you're in the right frame of thinking, all that jazz. We don't want a level 4. Well, we don't want a level 5 coming in donating for a goal of power or taxes being written off. We don't want those people. If they're not here for the actual good of the world, then we don't want them here. And the reason why is because, well, I guess I might as well just come right out and say that I am very, very vigilant about making sure that corporate does not get into the healing garden. There is this mentality of I'm going to step on everybody, and there's no respect or understanding of how we're interconnected. You must be a level 6. You must understand how we are all networked and woven together in order to join the round table. And where corporate America fell apart is when number 5s who didn't have the ethics of number 6 ended up, well, you see what happened. We all know what happened. So I am adamant about making sure that the ethics are all in the right place in order to let somebody come on board. So it's not about the money. It's not about the money at all. It is about ethics. Ethics trumps money once you get to level 6. So thank you so much. Thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.